You guys, Erin here, back with another moon update for you. And I will also be discussing some of the very interesting energies that we are currently receiving from the heavens. A lot of really intense sort of hot pressure type of stuff going on, especially with this Mars-Uranus North Node conjunction that I've been talking about for so long is just around the corner. And that things might just get a little rattled, okay? So I keep using that word to describe this Uranus going through Taurus, but it's just so accurate. Okay, so we're going to talk about that, but let's first start by talking about this new moon that we've got coming up in the sign of Leo. This is great energy. Okay, so every time we have a new moon, which is basically every single month, we have an opportunity for new beginnings, to set our intention to flow through this growth that we experience over the next 6 months. Okay, so this particular new moon takes place in the sign of Leo, 5 degrees Leo. So we want to set our intentions for growth that have to do with this Leo energy. Okay, now Leo is such a grand energy. It's ruled by the sun, the brightest light in the sky. So we all have this opportunity to set our intentions for new growth that can be grand, that can have to do with bright light shining into our life, that can have to do with leadership skills. I'll break all that down for you. Now, this really, it's like we all experience this as a collective. Everybody on earth is experiencing these new beginnings that have to do with the sign of Leo, but it's also very, very unique to each and every one of us. It really depends on where that 5 degrees Leo comes through your natal chart. Okay, which house in your natal chart does this sign of Leo come through? Okay, for if you're using a Placidus house system, then you're definitely going to want to see exactly where 5 degrees Leo is. But if you're using the whole sign house system, which I've actually really kind of adapted into using the whole sign house system, very specifically when it comes to transits. Okay, so if you know what I'm talking about, you can just pull up your natal chart online. You just go into any free, natal chart calculation website, and you can look at your own natal chart, look for where the sign of Leo comes through. I'll show you the glyph in a minute. You'll see all this, and you can see which house in your natal chart this comes through, which area of your life is this ruling. For myself, as an example here, this comes through my 9th house, which I love this Leo energy because the 9th house is the house of higher learning and advanced knowledge. And that is, Leo rules the heart. And this is where my heart is. I love expanding my consciousness with higher learning. Okay, so for you, it could be coming through your 1st house. For your Leo rising, this is a huge opportunity for new beginnings for you. Maybe it's coming through your house of relationships, your house of career, your house of money, your house of home, your house of health. It could be coming through your house of karma. That's why it's so great to start to understand your natal chart so you can see which area of your life, very specifically, the new moons come through, so you can really fine tune what it is you are trying to manifest. Now, you can try and do that on your own, or you can also schedule an astrology reading. When you get a reading with me, I give you the recording. It's a video recording, so you can always go back and see which house these new moons are coming through in your own natal chart. I try to put it into a format so you can learn from this reading. Okay, so let's go ahead. Oh, and if you would like to schedule an astrology reading, I'm going to get this out of the way now. I'll mention it again at the end of the video, but I do get this question a lot. How do I schedule a reading with you? If you go to my website, erinwageastrology.com, if you're using a computer, it'll say right on the top of the screen, book online. Just click on that link. If you're using a device like a phone or a tablet, something like that, then there will be what looks like a little menu bar. I think it's got 3 lines, and you click on that and you'll automatically see a drop-down menu that will say book online. You can schedule straight through my website. And I do recommend that because then it avoids us going back and forth in emails trying to figure out when's most convenient for both of us. Okay, so enough of that. This sign of Leo, again, it's the leader. It's ruled by the brightest light in the sky, and Leo tends to be the brightest light wherever it goes. It's the courageous lion. It's represented by the lion who is the king of the jungle and truly loves his people. Now, please don't get me wrong. I'm not trying to suggest that every single person who has their sun in Leo is like this grand king who truly loves his people. but that's the energy of this sign. A lot of people who do have their sun in Leo, or even their Leo rising, they have this great quality of leadership skills, and it's not leading by command. It's not an energy that's like, you have to follow me because I'm the leader. Rather, it is this energy that is so fun and so vibrant and actually quite playful that people tend to just want to follow. It's a very, very courageous energy. It's also the fixed fire sign. Now, all the fire signs can tend to have really good vitality because they're fire, and fire has energy. However, the other two fire signs, Sagittarius and Aries, they can have a strong tendency to, the energy escapes them, okay? They can't hold on to it so well. The fixed fire sign, Leo, holds that energy in. And that's part of the reason why this energy has got such great vitality. I mean, really, the sun rules it's our vital force. That's what it is. And so this sign of Leo being ruled by the sun, it gives this really strong vitality type of energy that can just keep going and going and going because it's held onto it. Now, it is a very, very hot energy. Okay. We're talking about, when it's summertime and, the even just the temperature outside is hot. That's part of the reason it's kind of dark in here, is because I have curtains closed, but because it's hot outside, it's Leo season. Today, we're making this recording. So first, the sun just moved into Leo like an hour ago. But this Leo energy right in the middle of the summer, it is hot. People who have their sun in Leo can tend to run very, very hot. Might be a good idea for you to do some sort of, maybe, what's his name? Oh, geez, the guy who sits in ice. I can't remember his name off the top of my head right now. Oh, maybe it'll come to me later on the video, but some sort of cooling agent, some sort of cooling practices if your sun is in Leo, because you run hot. Okay, so enough of that. Let me go ahead and share the screen and talk about all these fantastic energies that are going on in the world. So for starters, for those of you who are new to my recordings, I work with geocentric Western astrology. With that said, we put Earth right here in the middle of the thing, okay? And it's like here we are in the middle. And these symbols, technically called glyphs, are for the celestial bodies. Like right here is the moon, here's the sun, here's Mercury, okay, up here is Venus. And if we go in the wheel a little way, we can see these are the symbols for the zodiac signs that those things will be beaming through, okay? Now, again, let's touch on this. And if this goes over your head, it's totally okay. Just follow along as best as you can. This is based on my location, Santa Cruz, California. This is the moon. Sorry, here's the sun and here's the moon. Okay, they're in the same spot. That's what happens every single time we have a new moon. The sun and the moon are in the same spot. And by the way, this takes place July 28th at 11:54 a.m. Pacific time. So really, I mean, that's Pacific time. If you're, on this side of the world, you might want to set your intentions, pull out your journal the night before, like on July 27th. So your intentions are set before this new moon peaks. But going back to this, based on your location, these might be anywhere else in the zodiac. Okay. These things that look like a slice of pie, they're called the houses. And that's it's for everybody. We're all experiencing the sun and the moon at 5 degrees Leo. By the way, here's the symbol for the sign of Leo. That's what you want to look for if you're trying to figure this out in your own natal chart. But pay no mind to where this is, because again, this is based on my location. But again, we're all experiencing the sun and the moon coming together at 5 degrees Leo. So the sun is the father, the moon is the mother, according to Western astrology. And they come together every time we have a new moon, again, every single month, and they create a baby. And this baby is actually energy. And it's going to grow over the next 6 months until we have the full moon in Leo. So this is our time to set our intentions for this Leo growth within ourselves. Okay. Again, it's probably a good idea to me, this is the way I like to do it, is I pull my journal out the night before. And that's really when I have my ceremony to set my intentions. So it's, I'm kind of working with harmony, working with the flow of the celestials rather than trying to catch up. But if you miss it, you can always come back. That's better than not doing it at all. You can always come back. Say you're seeing this video a couple of days after the new moon, and you're thinking, oh, shucks. Well, you're better off doing it later than never. Okay. Hope that made sense. Now, so 5 degrees Leo, this is very strong Leo energy. It's within the first 10 degrees. So it's like Leo energy. It's in the first decan. Okay. So this is very strong Leo, hot, courageous, playful, leadership type of energy coming through for these new beginnings. Now, some of these aspects I'm going to mention here. This is very hot. My goodness. Okay. These blue lines that we see going from here to here, this is a connection that is going from the sun and the moon over to Jupiter in Aries. Woo. Okay. Jupiter is the expander. Jupiter makes things a bigger deal. Jupiter is of abundance and can have a lot to do with wisdom and philosophy. Jupiter can also have a lot to do with even optimism in itself. It's currently going through Aries, which is hot. Okay. Jupiter is like burning up right now, which there's definitely pros and cons to that. And it really does depend on how this is personally affecting your own natal chart. But as a collective, we can see things are heating up. Okay. Now, and this new moon is actually making a harmonious connection to Jupiter over here. So let's look at the qualities of this. Let's look at let's be optimistic. Okay. This gives more abundance to the new beginnings that we set our intentions for. And it's fiery. Okay. It's fire burns up and it's hot, and fire is the #1 most important element in the process of transformation. Keep that in mind for this new moon. Okay, now I'm also going to mention this right here is Mercury going through Leo, which I happen to really like this placement. Mercury, it's slightly debilitated. I mean, that kind of depends on what form of astrology you're using, but Mercury rules like what we're consciously focusing on. Mercury is technically the messenger of the gods. So of course it has a lot to do with the messages that we're putting out. It really does rule our communication skills. Okay. And here's Leo, the leader of the zodiac. So this could be good for communication skills. If you're somebody who's trying to share information out there in the world, this might support that. However, wow, this Mercury right here in Leo, 18 degrees Leo, is making a really hard square over here to Uranus at the time of this new moon. Okay, so it's just time for me to talk about this. This right here is Uranus. Okay, Uranus is very spasmodic, very revolutionary. Now, Uranus is like wonderful. The ultimate goal of Uranus is freedom. It wants truth. It wants higher truth, and it will throw down a revolution to reveal it. And we've also got Pluto energy wanting to reveal some stuff here too. But Uranus is progressive. It is electric. It is quite powerful. Okay. It wants to be ahead of the game. Okay. It wants to be, it's like futuristic. That's what Uranus is. And it's very electrical and again, spasmodic. And this is making this connection to Mercury. So neurons in our brain, we can expect them to be going completely wacko around this time. But again, so much of this depends on your own natal chart. This could be a huge benefit to you. This could be a massive benefit to you depending on your own natal chart. However, just keep that in mind. Things might be feeling not so grounded at this time, especially because Uranus is not working alone. Look at this. Okay, here's Uranus. Here's Mars. All right, let's talk about Mars first. These guys are all so close together at this point. They're going to basically be exact on July 31st and August 1st, but don't pay too much attention to those dates because we can see here on the 28th, they're already very, very close, and they're going to remain close for quite some time. Uranus is staying at 18 degrees Taurus till like October or something like that. It's crazy. But as we're creeping up to this time, Mars, let's talk about Mars and Uranus being conjunct first. If I say conjunct, what I mean is they are in basically the same spot. And when anything does that, it blends together and it wants to work as one. Okay, so Mars is the aggressor. Mars is like rageful. And don't get me wrong, Mars is fantastic. He's what gives us our physical drive to go do what we got to do. I mean, even the glyph, he's like ready to penetrate. It's a very masculine and very dominant energy, but it can be quite, in fact, some astrologers refer to Mars as the planet of war, which, you know, just to give you an idea as to how Mars works, I'll say that, but there's so much more to Mars. It's not like he's just always, excuse me, but pissed off. It's more like, let's go. We got to do this. That's what Mars is saying. So that blending in with this electrical spasmodic berserker Uranus is like, whoa, it's really, really powerful. Now, not only that, but this right here is the North Node. The North Node is where energy comes in. Remember, we're right here in the middle, North Node. The celestial energy comes in through the North Node. And here it is blending in with the spasmodic Uranus and the rageful Mars. Like crazy amounts of very, very powerful energy coming in, very revolutionary energy. Now, here's the kicker. It's coming through the sign of Taurus. This right here is the symbol for Taurus. Now, if you've got anything prominent between, say, 15 and 20 degrees Taurus, there's stuff going on in your life right now. And it really depends on what house it's coming through to see what kind of area of your life it's coming through. But it's like this is affecting all of us. And again, for some people, it could be fantastic energy. And for other people, it's like it's shaking their whole life around. The sign of Taurus is the fixed earth sign. It doesn't want to move. It wants stability. It's this energy of wanting everything to, kind of work consistently and persistently without any shaking around. It's like the earth of the earth signs. Okay. Uranus, Taurus really does rule a lot that has to do with our earthly experience. Okay. The sign of Taurus, it rules agriculture, it rules money, finances, banking. I mean, I've talked about this so much already. I don't want to be like, reiterate too much, but this inflation stuff that we're experiencing, everything with the stock market, personally, I thought this would be a little more beneficial for crypto at this point. I'll go into that briefly here. Just let me finish up on what I'm saying here so I don't get too sidetracked. This Taurus energy rules the stability of Earth, and all this energy that's going on, again, it has a lot to do with finances. All this energy that's coming through makes all the sense in the world with what's going on with, money, banking, finances, stock market, inflation, gas prices, all of it makes so much sense with these guys all right next to each other. And it's probably going to get even a little more interesting. We'll just leave it at that. Now, going back to this briefly, because I know so many people are so into this crypto thing. Okay, personally, and I always admit that I could be wrong, always, but I really do think that there's going to be a shift. There's going to be a big change with the cryptocurrency. Personally, I think it's going to have something to do with I'm trying to be very careful with my words, especially since this goes on YouTube and they're very finicky about certain words that you use, but authoritarian establishments getting involved with cryptocurrency for the purpose of making it so it can't be decentralized. Okay, I do think that's what's going to go on. Overall, I really do think that it is going to be a change, and it could be abundance for a lot of people. It actually really could be. Personally, I do think crypto is going to go up, but not in the way that so many of us wanted it to, in that decentralized manner. Okay, that's a whole nother video. I'm kind of going off on a tangent there. Mostly what I want you guys to realize is that we've got some turbulence coming up here. Okay. And this also, Taurus, it rules over cows. It rules over cows. And some friends were here a couple of weeks ago and we're talking about how I didn't see this, but they were talking about, there was some article where there was like 20,000 cows found dead. Sounds a little suspicious to me, but regardless, this makes sense. We're having major eclipses go on through the sign of Taurus and Scorpio. We already had a couple earlier in this year. Now we're going to have more in October and November. So that sign of Taurus is really getting shaken up, okay, with all this energy going through. And going back to this square to Mercury, where here I was saying, yeah, Mercury rules our communication skills. Going through Leo, it can be very courageous and kind of just courageous with communication skills. I'll leave that there, but this could be good for some people. But this square that's going on over here, that's tension. That's a lot of tension. The best way to go about this, if you're feeling a strong internal tension, number one, stay grounded. It is so incredibly crucially important that we are all staying grounded really all throughout the rest of this year. Mostly we're just not really receiving much of a strong earth energy. We will be receiving a little bit more when Virgo season comes around, but it's this sign of Taurus is the stabilizer, and it's not stable at all right now. And so to ground ourselves out literally by touching earth as much as you can, preferably where there's not green grass growing, preferably either, put your feet in water that's, a stream or a creek or something like that. Other than that, either dirt, sand, or rock. That grounds you out, okay? Especially if you can do it for at least an hour a day. That's one way to help prevent the tension of this square and all this energy that's going through Taurus. But also do things slowly, plan it out. Don't get delusional. We still got Neptune going through Pisces, of course. And that is, I've mentioned that so many times, it's very delusional energy. But if we do things with kind of like building blocks, one step at a time, instead of making this grand picture and not being able to fulfill the expectations because you're doing things too fast, or either it's just too overwhelming, to do things with building blocks in place. Put some structure to your goals. Okay. Now, also, it's like a T-square from Mercury and these nodes, the North and South node. This can be really good for problem solving. But again, it's just a significant amount of tension. And then with all this heat going on with the Leo energy, woof, it's powerful. So let's get to another topic here. Let's talk about Venus right here going through the sign of Cancer. Now, Venus is lovely. Venus is like the antidote for everything. Venus is the influencer of love. Don't get me wrong. All these guys, they have pros and cons to them. But Venus, for the most part, she really is. She's very soothing. Okay. She's all about love and romance. She can warm you when you're cold. She can cool you when you're hot. She's going to be going through the lovely sign of Cancer. And this isn't necessarily considered like an exalted placement or anything, but it works really, really well because the sign of Cancer is so receptive and so it's so kind and so empathetic. And here's Venus, this lovely energy going through the sign of Cancer. So that can help to kind of keep things calm a little bit, or at least, that's a soothing energy for us. So that's lovely. We can maybe, as I mentioned, putting your feet in water can really tap you into this. Cancerian energy is so watery, being ruled by the moon, and being able to tap into that Venus energy, it might benefit by really truly putting your feet in some water. If you don't live anywhere near a stream or a creek or anything like that, make your own little puddle of water. That's my suggestion. Okay, so let's see here. What else can we talk about? We've talked about Saturn going through Uranus so many times. This is also very revolutionary energy. It really is. Uranus rules Aquarius with Saturn. Saturn and Uranus rule Aquarius. Here's that Aquarius energy I'm talking about. This is the symbol for Aquarius. And because Uranus is one of Aquarius's rulers, it makes it a very revolutionary energy. It makes it this very progressive energy. In fact, the motto for the sign of Aquarius is I know, okay? Because it's kind of like the genius and it's ahead of the game. And here's Saturn, the rule maker, the one who creates discipline, coming through that sign. And it's like trying to bring structure to things that we know. It's probably the best thing we can have right now, seeing as though this Neptune going through Pisces is so wishy-washy. So Saturn bringing some structure to the game in one of his own signs, in the sign of Aquarius, is really nice. That can kind of, in a sense, ground things out. I have said this a million times already, but I'm going to say it again in case you're new to this. This is so good for the groups of humanitarian people who are getting together and trying to help one another, the people who are working for the people. Okay, this energy, it's so profoundly supportive to the humanitarian groups. So keep that in mind. This is also going to be squaring the nodes at this time, and also that it's also going to square Mars pretty quick there too. Saturn and Mars are going to be squaring each other in upcoming weeks, so that can definitely create some tension, but it can also, again, supply the building blocks to move forward. Okay, now let's see here. What else should I touch on? I mean, we've talked about Pluto going through Capricorn a million times. Pluto, the bringer of death and rebirth, is currently driving backwards through the structure of our civilization. And we're seeing a lot of things collapse. And it might seem very scary to some people, but all of this, in my very strong and well-educated opinion, is happening for a purpose. Okay, it's happening for a reason, and we're all here for this, for a purpose, and we're meant to just go through it being the best version of ourselves that we possibly can, and the natal chart can really help to provide that. Okay, so I will leave that there. Hope that made enough sense to everybody. Next thing I'm going to talk about is, of course, how Leo rules the heart. This is one of the reasons I just love this energy so much, because it is so heartfelt. You know, Leo can actually be very sensitive. You know, it is this very courageous and playful and fun, and you've got all these great qualities, but it can also be sensitive. It could definitely get its feelings hurt, because Leo kind of likes to be the center of attention. Not, again, to suggest, if you're a Leo and you're watching this and you're like, I don't want to be the center of attention, it's because there's so much more in the natal chart. Your sun might be conjunct Saturn or something, but regardless, the sign of Leo in and of itself really likes attention, and when it doesn't get it, the heart can hurt. You know, this is part of this Leo energy. It also rules kind of like the back, not the lower back, but more like the upper part of the back. And also, opposite Leo is Aquarius. Okay, so if this is Leo up here, Aquarius is down here. Aquarius rules the electrical body. Okay, the current that is running around us or flowing around us. And that is all connected to the heart. All the signs that are opposite each other, there's a very powerful polarity between them. And you better believe that the polarity between the ruler of the heart and the ruler of the electrical body, they are working hand in hand. And then we've got all this Uranus electrical energy going on. Stay grounded, people, stay grounded. But keep your, attention on your heart. This is a really good time to be doing heartful meditation, tapping into what's really going on inside you, and how can you expand your heart? How can you open your heart? There's so many people just attacking each other because of this division that is going through humanity. I mean, again, it's just all happening with reason, in my opinion. But there's just people just like on a battlefield on social media. I'm one of those comment readers, reading people's comments, and people just saying things to each other that I seriously doubt they would say to each other's face. It's just kind of absurd. That's not good for your heart. That's terrible for your heart. And the heart is like, again, it's our vital force. So much of our vitality depends on the strength of our heart. So this is a really good time to strengthen our heart. Okay, now some stones. Let's see. This is a ruby right here. And also the metal is gold for Leo. Now this, I happen to know that ruby set in gold is very, very, very beneficial for me to be wearing due to certain placements in my natal chart. But if you are already a Leo and say your Mars is conjunct your sun, or like maybe trining your sun, you've got all this super hot, fiery Leo energy coming through, you might not want to wear a ruby because it'll make you even hotter, might even create like hot head type energy. So you might want to stick with something that's a little cooler. There's so many stones that really do kind of resonate with this Leo energy. And as usual, I will leave a full extensive list, but just to name a few. All right, let's start with this one. This is Carnelian. which carnelian, you can see they're red stones. They're red stones because that's the sun's rays. Okay. But this carnelian energy can be a lot more grounded than a ruby. And it can also, if you're somebody who is going through a very, very, say, powerful transformational process or healing process that especially involves any type of sexual trauma, carnelian might be the best stone for you to be utilizing. Maybe if this Leo energy comes to your 8th house, that would definitely be a good stone for you to tap in with. And what I do, just to be sure, just to make sure that, I know that there's a lot of stones that would not benefit me by wearing them on my body. They might restrict some of my bodily functions, that sort of thing. So what I do is I put those stones on top of my journal. When I write in my journal and I'm writing down what it is I'm trying to manifest, that sort of thing, I take those stones and I put them on top of my journal and put them on a windowsill, the night of the new moon, before the new moon peaks. Sometimes, new moons are during the daytime, full moons can be during the daytime. I want to get that journal on a windowsill before the actual, peak of that energy. Okay. So another one I want to mention here, this right here is citrine. Let's see if I can get that to pick up. It's not really picking up. They're just a bunch of little citrine stones. They're beautiful. Citrine resonates very well with the Leo energy. But this is also one that is actually really good for finances. Citrine can be really good for, trying to manifest more financial abundance. And what I have done is I've actually printed out my natal chart and put this specific jar right on top of the part of the natal chart that rules over money, possessions, and values. And it really helped. Okay. I'll just put it as that. I mean, granted, I knew I had some transits coming up that could be in alignment with that. So keep that in mind too. Citrine's a good one for that type of thing, but it also just overall resonates well with this Leo energy. And if you don't know for sure if any of these stones are good for sure that you'd be wearing on your body, then again, I would recommend putting it on top of your journal or, just sitting with it when you're having your ceremony, that sort of thing. Okay, so I think I covered everything that I wanted to. So again, if you would like to schedule an astrology reading, please do visit my website, erinwageastrology.com. Okay, and again, you can just, there should be something right on the top of the website that says book online. You can click there, calendar pops down. You can schedule straight through there. But as I always say, if you can't find anything that is convenient for you, if you're in a totally different time zone than me, then send me an email and I can adjust my business hours. I'm happy to do that. But I much prefer that people, if you can find something that's convenient for you, schedule straight through my website. Sometimes people send me emails and I miss them because I get so many emails, but I'll never, ever miss an astrology reading because I get notified on every little device that somebody's scheduled a reading. So I would never miss that. Okay, you guys, I hope that all made sense. I hope you are all doing well. I hope you're all staying grounded. And until next time, namaste to all of you.